That's a very good question. How do we know Uncle Harley gave his original recipe to Brown and Massey when he sold out in 1964? The answer to that in short terms is we don't know and there's no way of telling. But what I can tell you is some facts that I have that I could share with you. We all heard the stories of Uncle Harley getting fussy in the kitchens and cussing up a storm and throwing things in the trash, calling things slop, calling it wallpaper paste. There's times he would go into the kitchen, they'd have all the sides pre-made sitting out on the counter to go out with meals, and he would take his cane, swipe it off the counter into the trash and say, "Nope, you're doing it from scratch today." He was very, very strict on his quality and things being done his way. And I don't think he would have been that strict on it if he didn't sell his original recipe. I don't think he would have gone as mad as he did if he didn't sell his original recipe. Because think about it this way. If he knowingly sold his recipe but changed it and gave them an alteration to it, why would he care about the quality being his quality if he didn't sell his quality to them? You gotta think about the other part too that I mentioned in the last video. He went around to 200 franchisees of Kentucky Fried Chicken, gave them 99X, and told them to use it. It's better than what corporates, whatever they're making them use. He believed Hultblein, who purchased it in 1971 from Brown and Massey, had altered the recipe, whether that's cutting ingredients out, cutting the amounts out, or changing something that's to a cheaper substitution. He didn't know what had changed, but he knew something had changed. So 99X was the closest thing to his original that he had, and it was originally made and intended for the Claudia Sanders Dinner House. He wanted Mary and Kay to supply the original recipe and even suggested them to Kentucky Fried Chicken. And the owner said no. They already had Sexton and Stange supplying the recipe. They weren't going to budge and change that. Now, he knew Mary and Kay would not substitute anything and everything would be 100% pure. He wanted them to supply his original recipe. Why would he want to do that if he sold a fake recipe to Brown and Massey? Why would he give out 200 franchisees 99X and other restaurants 99X and tell them to use it if he sold his original recipe? He's very strict on the sides being made fresh, the chicken being made fresh, the flour being cake flour. That's another story. He'd go in, and I quote him on this, he'd reach into the flour. The first thing he did when testing a restaurant, give it a squeeze, and if it made a cob shape in his hand, he knew they were using the right flour. And I didn't believe that, but I tried it, and it does make a difference using cake flour and other flours. I mean, he was that strict on flour being right. That's why he didn't like the extra crispy idea, because he thought it was just a fried dough ball. Point being, I don't think he would have been that strict if he didn't sell the original.